If you're wondering how to get started with threads for your restaurant or for your marketing agency or your eats page, you're in the right place. We're going to dive in and talk about how you can get started, some of the simple things you should be doing today to start to find the right followers, to start building a following, and start really building relationships with people over on Threads. Now, if you don't know, Threads is Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's answer to Twitter. I think a lot of people can see not great things happening over on Twitter, and they're looking for a new place. Now, the beauty about Threads is that it's attached to your Instagram profile. And so, where are most restaurants and foodies? On Instagram. And so it makes it super easy to download the app, connect your account, and you can then follow all the accounts that you already follow. And so it makes it real easy to find people. All right. Now, the problem is there's not a lot of activity happening yet because it's so brand new. People are still just trying to figure it out. So if you're like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here, that's okay. Start posting and just start playing around with it. You know, I really believe it is going to be a good tool to build relationships. For restaurants, you can build relationships with customers. You know, people are going to ask questions like, when are you open? Or can I see your menu? Or things like that. And it's going to be a really good way for you to have conversations, not in maybe the comment section. All right. And for us as marketers, you know, wanting to work with restaurants, it's a really good way to start the dating process, the flirting where you're going in and engaging. So let's first talk about setting up your profile because that's most important. So we need to get our profile kind of dressed up because people are going to come check us out. So first, go to your profile, and once you download the Threads app, it's down here in the bottom right. I click on profile, and I'm going to edit my profile. Do you see the button right there in the middle that says edit profile? I'm going to click on that. Now, the name is attached to my Instagram page, so I can't change that. But this bio, you can. Now, if you have a good bio over there, that's fine. But, and you could just import that in. Or if you want to dress it up a little bit, you can. I have three things. I have one, go explore Kansas City with us. Because I wanted to use that key term, Kansas City, for search, because the more info that you can give Threads, the better it's going to be to help, you know, find people. Then if you want to get featured, email us. And so it's a way for restaurants or people to reach out to us for a free feature. And then I have the website address. Now, you also have a link there. So, you know, you might be asking, do I need it both places? Maybe not. I'm kind of just playing around and we're kind of all figuring this out together. So that's the first way to set up your profile and really get that all dressed up. What I've been doing is using other users to find people to follow, because the more followers you find that are the people you want, the better your feed's going to be. So here's what you can do. Here's a little trick. I'm going to go to where it says 21 followers right above profile. So those are my followers, but I also can see the person I'm following. Let me show you this. Where's Mindy? Okay, so there's Mindy right there in the middle. I'm going to click on Mindy, and this is a little hack that I do. You look at where it says 46 followers on Mindy. I'm going to click on that where it says 46 followers. So this is going to show me all of her followers. Okay, all of her followers. But maybe what's more important are the people that are following her. Here's what I mean. If I click on following, I'm sorry, that Mindy's following. If I click on this, look at how easy it is, and I've done a lot of these already. I can go through and see, oh, well, Mindy's following these people. These are probably people I should also be following. And you kind of just build off of other creators. So I'm just going to hit some right here. And that I know, I don't know all of these. Oh, there's Maria. And so I'm just going to hit some of these, and it just helps me find different followers. Okay. Especially what we want to find. And one thing I've been doing is I've found some other local influencers. So like Rat here, she's a fabulous Kansas City influencer. So I go to her page, and if I click on followers, she's already got a ton of followers. Now, she probably imported in from her Instagram page, and that's how she got all these. But again, if I go to following, because those are people she intentionally is following, and I go through here, and it gives me, I'm looking for restaurants, I'm looking for a lot of restaurants or Kansas City places. I don't know. I'm just gonna, because there's not a lot of stuff posts being made. It's good to just find these creators, and what's going to happen is Threads is just going to start figuring out who you are and curating your experience.
So how I started looking for people, like I imported my Instagram feed, then I did just what you did. Like if you scroll down on yours on the screenshot, I don't know if it's the live right there, threaders you need to follow. Like I went through and followed all of them that I wasn't following, and lots of people are doing this, and so that's how I started looking for stuff to follow. So I'm trying to follow a lot of the influencers in town, a lot of obviously the restaurants. There's some kind of like marketing guru people that I follow on Instagram, and I sought them out to see if they were on Threads already, and of course they were, so I follow them. Is a lot of like the kind of the bigger names right now. So you've got the BuzzFeed, you've got like Entertainment Tonight, Nugget, like that kind of stuff right now. But I'm starting to see it filter in all the like more local people that I'd like to follow more. So it's coming. It's getting there. I think it took a little bit of time to kind of catch up from all the people I was following and liking, but yeah, I mean, I think it's easier. I'm not a Twitter. I was never like huge on Twitter. I was more of a lurker than a poster. And there's something about this that I like better than Twitter, but I haven't put my finger on it. But I do feel like conversations are easier to start, and you can kind of like, I've had people like reply to me, when I've replied to them, and like there's been a little conversation. So I love that. I love that it's a little bit more interactive than even Instagram or Facebook is. So
you're exactly right. And it's called Threads because what do they want? They want conversations. They want people responding. And that's the whole point of it. And so if, you just know, and so I'm always trying to like, okay, who else should we follow? Okay. And let me see here. And so see, I got a couple people. Okay. Thank you. And, love this. Thank you. And so it's kind of like back in the early days of Twitter, there was like Follow Friday, where on Fridays you would like recommend people that you should follow. Here in the infancy days, it's hard. And we got to connect people. And so if you, with your Eats page, can be given some of these people some props, and not all people are like threading very much, and that's okay. People are kind of looky-looing right now, like, what is this? What should we be doing? What I see it as with restaurants, if we are managing a restaurant, I see a lot of opportunities to engage with customers. You can answer questions. You can, show new menu items. This was one of my reels and I just put it on there. Okay. You could do that as a restaurant, or as us featuring restaurants post those things. You could ask questions as the restaurant. What's your favorite menu item? And it's really designed for conversation. And I really think it's going to get a lot of engagement, but it might be a while because it's going to take some user adoption.
Right.
But so I'm not saying go all in on Threads. I'm not saying spend all of your time over here. I'm saying kind of check it out and kind of be aware and start playing around with it, because I can see this being a top social media platform for restaurants.
Yeah, I can too. I I mean, you can post images and stuff. I still think that restaurants will use like Instagram more for like kind of like the foodie porn, kind of like the glamour shots of their food and stuff, but using them kind of intertwinedly will be intertwinedly, is that a word? I don't know. Using them together will, I think, be incredible for restaurants.
Here's an example. This is one that I've been following. I mean, people have just been having fun. Wendy's has been having a blast with this. People have been doing this, like this kind of ridiculous stuff. Oops.
Wendy's is a great social media department.
Oh yeah, they're fabulous. Let me see if I can find Wendy's.
Hey gang. Yeah, I'm having the same feel as like Mindy does. Like people are still trying to, find it. My feed is, doing the same thing. It's kind of like, because I just hopped on it a couple days ago, and really started to get into it. So most of my feed right now is just kind of like random people, and, just people, because I really haven't liked anybody yet, or hasn't caught up like Mindy said. But I think it's going to be one of the better social media platforms to get on, because right now it seems like the community wants this to be a good social platform, without all the unnecessary noise and everything, and just be able to have an actual, one-to-one, with your customer or friend or whoever you're talking to. I really like it. Enjoying it so far.
Yep. Very good. I mean, I think just checking people out. What are people doing? And like, people are just kind of, see, like Hula Hands. They're a huge one. They've got 777 followers already, but they haven't posted anything yet. So a lot of people are like creating their accounts. So what I am trying to do is in these like shout outs to like kind of like spur them on, like, hey, let's get this conversation going. They haven't posted anything yet, but I know that they're one that they should. Just, giving shout outs to people, asking questions, because questions will create conversation, right? Seafood Network, okay, like stuff like this. And then I just have been like replying to stuff like OMG.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm sure within the next couple of weeks you'll be able to cross post and everything, because I'm sure everybody's working on that right now. So you'll be able to share your posts and everything. And
do you think vertical video is the best format for this, or square?
That is a good
question. Takes up a
question.
ton of real estate. Look at that. That vertical video is, I don't know, but it doesn't fill all the way. I wonder what that aspect ratio is that it needs to go wide. Mindy, do you know anything about that?
I don't, but now I'm curious. I mean, I prefer square. I don't know why. I just do. I think it's because I'm such a fan of Instagram. And like in my head, like the vertical is for reels, where like square is just for like images. I don't know. But it seems like a lot of people are doing the vertical. Well, maybe it's just the videos are vertical, and that looks amazing.
I mean, I think a lot of people are. I mean, I created this for Reels and TikTok, and I just posted it. So, that's gonna be another interesting thing. How does content change? Do people do we need to create it in a different format? I don't know.
I mean, as I'm scrolling, most people, it looks like most people are just the vertical shots, like not so much the square.
So this is interesting, and this is us just playing around. I haven't done anything with multiple photos, but this is pretty cool how it slides.
Yeah.
I've not seen anybody doing that.
Yeah, I like that, how it sets up like that.
So I'm just thinking about this. I'm just spitballing. You could like think of this as like kind of story, a little story. Like you could tell a little story with the beginning, middle, and end, right? The first picture might be the finished product of the burger. Second photo might be, you know, putting burger on the grill. Next photo is you know, putting the toppings on. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, thinking how could we use media on this thing in a different way than Instagram. So you notice here, it's a lot of text also. It's not images. You know, I really think they want conversations. That, you know, they haven't added. I think they'll add things just to the app with like Giphy or Bitmoji, you know, more integration where you could bring those in. You kind of have to do workarounds for that, because I like to reply with like GIFs or memes or stuff, but there's a lot of food porn.
Well, and I mean, you're seeing so much of it because that's who you follow, but it's starting to pop up in my feed a little bit more too, which is making me happy.
If you want to follow people real quickly, so like see where that, okay, so Munchies, you see the logo in the upper left there with the big M, see the plus sign. If you click that plus sign, you have to, it's kind of annoying sometimes. You click it and then it pops up and it says follow Munchies. So I hit yes, and so it'll follow it for me. So that's another way you can do it. Lots of questions. Questions and conversation is what they want. How can you see using this to like prospect for us to get clients? How can you see this for prospecting?
Well, I mean, I guess once more people get on it and start using it, you know, it'll be easier. But I like the approach that you had. If you noticed a profile that isn't, you know, been touched yet, or they haven't posted, maybe, you know, reaching out to them, you know, especially if they're a restaurant or something you want to work with, you know, I think that's good to encourage them. And that'll, you know, that'll get more people using it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a way to warm people up, right? It's flirting. You're kind of starting the flirting process. You know, we've talked about that, you know, going in and doing the feature, but imagine this. And a lot of us do that on, you know, Instagram or Facebook interacting, but I just see this as more like you could have a whole on conversation with someone. And when you go into the restaurant, they're going to know who the heck you are, you know? You know, I was having a conversation with a coffee shop the other day, and they were like, you need to come in and feature us, you know? So, yeah, there's just so many opportunities, I think, to build relationships here. And conversely, us, as when we're doing it for restaurants, I think it's a service we should start looking at offering where we can go in and interact. Because someone needs to be like monitoring it. Because here's the difference. It's a little more, it's going to be interesting to see. It's not as real time as Twitter, as what I'm seeing, because on Twitter, there's an option to see all the people you're following. Upper right, you see those two lines in the upper right above my logo? I click on that. And it goes to, let's see here, it's notifications. Click on notifications, threads and replies. So the middle one right there, threads and replies. So here's this. This is a good one. Scroll down to the bottom. And if you see this where it says first threads, I turn this on to from people you follow. And so what this is going to do is when people do their first thread, it's going to show me, like, it's going to put in their feed. And so, you know, that's where I can go in. I can like it. I can engage with it. So I made that change here. But they don't have a lot of good, like, I wish I could just see the people that I follow, and I can't. I've got to think that's coming.
Well, I have a question. I'm thinking a lot, but I have a question.
Okay.
What is your thought on like reposting? Like, should you always do like a comment when you repost, or is it acceptable to just repost?
I think either one.
Okay. Because like on Twitter, you see a combination, but I've never really like, again, not much of a Twitter user. So I never want to feel like I'm stealing content. Like a lot of times, like on my Instagram, I share stuff to my stories that I find humorous. And it tags them immediately, right? So like if I share something from Coach Allen, like it will say like it's from you. So I don't have to, like, I can just say like share and it goes to my story. And so I don't want to steal content, but at the same time, like sometimes I want to just share, you know, stuff that I find interesting. So I was just curious about your thought on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to find some, I mean, okay, so like look at what he did here, where Sean here, he shared this. This is, I'm going to click on this First We Eats. So like he shared this, and if to share, the underneath the photo, there's the arrows that are pointing like this. So you click on that, and it's a repost or a quote. So if you did a repost, it would just post it. But if I do a quote, it allows me to post something. You know, I'm not going to, but I could type something right here. Okay. And like a response. So, you know, it could be like you could respond to something.
Kind of like once my feed kind of fills in with like more of the local restaurants and stuff, I can see myself sharing that a lot more. No.
Here's another recommendation. If you have multiple accounts, keep the accounts kind of separate of who you're talking to on those accounts. Let me give an example. So I've got this page is Go Explore Local. Okay. And so this is like my eats page. And so this is where, you know, I'm featuring the restaurants and stuff. So this is where I would ask questions like, who are the Kansas City threaders we should be following? Things like that. Okay, so that's one account I have. So on that one, I'm making sure that I'm following Kansas City restaurants, local spots like the World War I Museum, or, you know, different places across Kansas City like that. That's one account. But then, like, this is just me. I have my own, like, this is tied to my Instagram page. And I'm using this a little more for personal, but also business, because, you know, as me, I want to go out and I'm talking to restaurant owners also, you know. So when I do it, I actually, let me show you my followers. So if I click on 39 followers right there in the middle, and you know, I do follow some fun things like, but it's mostly K-State. Okay. So what's going to be interesting is sports and news. I don't see any sports or news over here. Nobody's doing it yet. I am seeing a lot of ESPN, but it's going to be interesting as some of those things come in here. But what I would say is on your Eats page, keep your Eats page followers, people you're interacting with, to the restaurants and the food stuff. If you have a personal one, you can do a little mix of both. If you're interested in fishing, you could be following some fishing stuff or some K-State stuff, whatever it is. So think about that also. Your different accounts. What are you talking about, and who are you following?
I was just going back and looking to see if like the people I'm following or are following me, like just like I did like the top 10 or whatever, like am I following them and they're following me on Instagram as well. So I was like looking to see if like you had to be, but you don't, like you don't have to be following someone on Instagram if you're following someone, like it doesn't, it's separate. So
No hashtags. I'm not noticing hashtags.
oh yeah.
So,
Search.
and here's the thing, this is new for all of us. Like everybody is like figuring this out all together. And so there are no rules. And I know Davey mentioned this. It is a great time to get in on this because
Really?
we're all figuring this out together, you know, and so that's why I say don't go all in on it, but I'm checking in at least once a day and just kind of seeing what's happening over there. They launched this as a minimal viable product. And they were like, let's get this out there. Twitter's dying. Let's see if we can get people over and start just seeing how people are interacting over there. Restaurants are not on Twitter. People are not going to Twitter for food.
I was gonna say it's an alpha launch where, you know, like you're saying, they don't have all the features in there yet, but it is good enough, you know, better than a beta where they got most of the bugs worked out. But
I really think there's a lot of opportunities for us as creators and prospecting and restaurant marketers, but also looking at how we can start helping restaurants manage this, because they're not going to have time to manage this. But I really think it's an opportunity for restaurants to build conversations with people. The other thing, you could drop links in here. We haven't even talked about that. You can drop links, and so you could send links to like leave a Google review, or someone's like they ask a question, when are your hours? You could drop a link to your Google My Business page. So it makes link sharing way easier than like over on Instagram comments.
I mean, that's way easier than saying like, check out my profile. Links in my profile. I hate that. Like, just put it in the thing. And I know like with Instagram, we can't. So like that's better.
But I'm not seeing a lot of links is what's interesting. I'm not seeing a lot of people use links. Okay, here's one right here. And what people were having fun with was filling up, and they're going to have to do something with this, because you can fill up the whole screen. Like, look at this. So like when you're scrolling, one of the things you want to do is grab people's attention, right? Stop the scroll. Well, if your post fills up the whole freaking screen, it's hard not to notice you. Now, I think they're going to have to do something about this, because then lots of people started copying them. But I mean, it does take up a lot of real estate. Now, look at how this one, Mindy, it's going to be interesting. What's the width of these images that take up more space than my video, Play around with it. Check it out. Very good conversation today.